everyone. So this week I thought it would be fun to make this box pop-up card, I guess you can call it. And it looks like a camera. And I made this for my niece. I did make some updates because I didn't like how this one turned out. This was my first go at making this, and this is one of the changes I don't like. It doesn't stay closed very well. But anyways, it's supposed to be a camera, and then when you twist it like so, you can put all kinds of different designs in it. And this is the updated one that I made some changes to. I like how this comes together better. And then I'm going to show you how to make all these pieces. And this is so much better than this one that we did. But you just open it, and then you can twist whichever end you would like. And we'll put decorations on these. The only difference is we're losing a block, which to me wasn't that big of a deal to make it come together better. So yeah, that's it. And then we can just twist it back around, and it'll go right back in our box. And there you have it. So let's go ahead and get started on this. So for the inside of our box, for the mechanism part that twists, these are going to be pieces of cardstock. I will tell you that you're going to need a lighter cardstock. I tried a 80-pound piece of cardstock, and it just would not fold right. So I found that 60 pounds work well for me on this. So just keep that in mind when you're picking a piece of cardstock out. And we are going to need 10 pieces of these, because 2 pieces make 1 square. Now for the score lines, if we're doing this by hand, we're just going to go from one corner to the other on each side. And in design space, both of these lines measure 7.071 in height. This line, you're going to rotate it to 315 degrees, and your X and your Y will be at 0. Now for this line over here, you're going to rotate it to 45 degrees, and then your X and Y will still be at 0. Now for the card, I made it 8.5 by 2 1/4, and then we're going to score it in the middle, 4 1/4 for, okay, my box pieces. Okay, let's do the bottom of the box. This piece right here, it measures 6 1/4 by 8 1/4, and we're going to score everything. So if we put it across the 6 1/4, we're going to go ahead and go up and find 2 inches, score it all the way to the bottom, time at 4 1/4, and then score it all the way down to the bottom. And then we're going to go ahead and turn our paper on the 8 1/4 side, and then we're going to score it at 2 inches from the top to the bottom, and then we're going to score it again at 6 1/4 inches, which ends up being 2 inches all the way around. So with our lid, what we want to do, if you're using a scoreboard, if you find you a nice piece thick cardstock, you can just place it right against the edge scoring board, and then put your paper against it, and then start scoring. And this is going to help keep our lid from being so tight on our box. And it's easier to keep the measurements at 1/2 inch or an inch or whatever we're scoring them at. If you're doing it freely by hand like I would be doing here, I went to this first line right here. You could probably start right there and score the 1/2 inch and then the inch. And you want to do this every time we turn it. You want to make sure that it's lined up off of the edge of your scoreboard. Now in design space, if you're doing it, I just place my paper at the X on 0.063 and the Y on 0, which is not quite 1/8 of an inch. And then I'm going to show you what the difference of the lids makes just by scooching this over. And this is just a good tip to remember too. So here's the box that we're going to make, and this is the lid that I didn't move out just a little bit off of the edge over here. And I just want to show you how big of a difference it can make. First of all, I got to squeeze it a little bit to get in, but then see how much it's folded in all over. Now just by moving it just a smidge up our paper or scoreboard, however we're doing it, we don't get all of that sunken inness. And that's just a little, tip to keep in mind. 7 1/4 by 5 1/4. This first line, we're going to go up and find a 1/2 inch and score it all the way to the bottom. The next line will be 1 1/2 inch. We're going to score it on and go all the way to the bottom. And then we can jump on over to this line. It's 5 3/4 of an inch, and we'll score it to the bottom. And then this last line is 6 3/4 of an inch, and we'll score it all the way down to the bottom. And let's turn our paper long ways. We're going to score at a 1/2 inch to the bottom, and then we're going to score at 1 1/2 inch and 3 3/4 of an inch, and then 4 3/4 of an inch. These are the pieces that will make the camera. This first piece is going to be 4 1/4 by 2 1/4. Then our next piece is going to be 4 1/4 by 1 1/4. Then this piece measures 4 1/4 by 3/4. And then the circle is a 2-inch circle. And then this is a 1 3/4 inch circle. And with this, I just took a hole puncher and punched a hole inside of it. This little piece that we're going to need is 1 1/2 by 3/4 of an inch. And then this little piece here, it measures 5/8 by 3/8. And that I put there. And then if you want the little dot that I put on it, I just punched a little bitty dot out here. With this dot, I just used a hole puncher and punched that hole out for that. And then our last two pieces for our camera this piece right here is a 3/4 of an inch by 3/8 of an inch. Small piece. It is a 1/2 inch by 1/4 of an inch. And that all of our pieces for the front of the camera. And then on the back, what I'm doing to make it look like a little screen, this square measures 2.5 inches by 1.5 inch. And then I also cut out a circle, which is a 1/2 inch in diameter, and then I just punched 3 little dots out also, but it's about yay big, and I'm gonna use that on the back of the camera. And the last thing I wanted to let y'all know about how big the little squares are to place this size right here, but it's approximately 1.5 by 1 3/4. And why I say approximately is because sometimes when you go to fold to make the mechanism, it doesn't always come out exactly on each square. So also I wanted to let you know, when you're choosing the items you want on your squares, what I have found that it needs to be flexible, so or a thinner item. So for these like little stickers I put on here, that work fine, and the pictures I used, I just printed out their little stickers, photo stickers, and I just printed those out, and these are relatively thin also. So that's just something to keep in mind when you go to choose your items you want on your camera. So now we can go ahead and get started, guys, on putting our pieces together. So let's do that. So we're going to go ahead and make our boxes for the inside of our camera. So we're going to go ahead and fold on your score line. And then once you do one side, go ahead and turn and go to your other side. I'm going to put mine like a kite. So once we have it positioned like this, we're going to take this corner and go up to the score line. Not past it, just to it. And we're going to give it a score. And then we're going to turn it around and do the same thing to the other side. Up to the score line and try to have the points lining up. And then give it a good brownish. And now I'm going to keep on this side, and we're going to take this point here, this point, and we're going to fold to this line, not past it, just to it. And burnish it down. And the same thing, we're going to go over here and go down to this edge right here, not past it. And you can use those lines, the score lines that's already there, to try to keep it all lined up. Okay, so you should have something that looks like this. Now what we're going to do is take this edge and fold it up until this middle score line that we have right here. Do not go past it, just to it. And then we should have something that looks like that. And then the same thing with this, just to that score line. Now once we have that, we're going to take this end, this point, and we're going to go up to this point right here where we have that little V here, and we're going to place it. So just like so. And then we're going to fold it down. And this is right here is why we're needing a thinner cardstock. This is where it kind of starts to get bulky. Now once we have this folded, we're going to take this corner to this corner. You should have that. Now what we're going to do is fold this in half, and this is going to be our guideline of where we want to start folding it. So right at this point, so we're going to act like we have a little line here at this point. I got it kind of lined up, and we'll give it a fold. And then we'll turn it around like this, and then just line it up as best as you can. And then we want to give this a good, nice crease. And then we have that. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take this corner and we're going to move it back over to this corner, and it should line up just beside this other crease line. So we should have something that looks like so. Now we're going to get another one. I'm alternating my colors, but we're going to take a second one and do it all again. Okay, now that we had them all folded, you have this turned this way and open it a little, And then we're going to turn this so we have the points going sideways. And then inside of here is we're going to tuck it in that little pocket, this little flip. We're going to tuck it in like so. Turn it. See that little pocket right there? We're going to lift it up and tuck it in. And then they should be lined up with each other. And then we're just going to glue it down. Now once we have all of these on, we can just take them and glue them on top of each other like so. I usually make sure these points, I don't know that it matters, just match up. And once you think your glue is set, you can go ahead and start opening it. And then we have our boxes. And this is probably the best time to get our pieces on before we put it in the box. But let's go ahead and get our camera box made. So I'm going to start with the one that only has the 4 score lines on it, which is the bottom of the box. And all we're going to do is cut on our score lines in this corner here. And then once we have them cut, let's go ahead and just do our little snip of the sliver of the corner. Alright, and then we can go ahead and fold on our score lines. And then once we have that done, we can just turn our little tabs down and put glue on it and glue our box together. Now that we got this done, we can move on to our lid. Now, on our lid, what we're going to do is get rid of all of this on each corner. And the reason why I did it this way is to help give it just to be more stable and sturdy. So on each corner we're going to take that off. And on this first one, you're just going to snip up to this score line right here. And that's what it should look like. And then once you have all of these cut, it should look like so. And now what I'm going to go back in is cut our little corners off to like it help everything lay nice and smooth. And if you have time, it really makes things set so much nicer. Okay, now, excuse me, now that we have everything cut, let's go ahead and fold all of our score lines. Okay, now once we have everything scored, these flaps will go over to here, and then for more security and support, this flap is going to fold over our little tab. Okay, so let's go ahead and start gluing things down. And now we should have just our flaps that's going to make everything a little bit more secure and sturdy left. So we can just go ahead and put glue on those and fold those over. And now we have a nice, tight, secure lid. Now that we've put our box together, let's go ahead and get our pieces to make our little homemade camera. My base of my camera is going to be the blue. And then my next strip was a darker blue that I chose. So we can get our glue and put that on. Then I think I'm going to glue like 4 or 5 of these together to give it some dimension. Okay, now that we've got that glued, we can take our next little piece that we have, little strip here, which I chose purple. And then our next piece, I'm gonna put this together, then put it on. So I'm gonna get your biggest circle, and then the one with the hole in it, we're gonna glue on to our circle. And then take our rings and glue it on like so. Then we can take this piece that we've completed and put it right in the center. Then our next little piece is our hole punch that we made. I just did a white, excuse me, hole punch. We're gonna put it over here. And we're gonna take our little yellow piece, and I did a little bitty hole that I punched that I found. Our next 3 pieces, to give these a little bit of a curved edge, so I'm just gonna clip my corners here like so. Okay, when you glue this piece on, I would just put just a small little line down at the bottom, because part of it is going to be sticking up. So I'm just doing a thin line like so. And then gonna center it on my box. And then so we don't have any raw edges, that's why I'm doing it like this, so we can put our camera piece on top. And then the same thing with these, I just rounded the edges of these, and I'm just going to put a little glue across the bottom and then place them on each side. For the strap, I really didn't measure, I just cut a piece, but this one is 10 inches. I think that's a little long, so I'm going to cut it off. This is about 7.5 inches for the strap. If you want the strap, I just took my pencil and kind of rolled it up and then put a little glue here. You have everything down how you would like it. We're just going to take glue and put it on the back and then put our camera piece on top. And there we have it, guys. I just think that's a cool, easy way to make a little camera. And then what we can do next is on our back, what we're gonna do is take our card that we made and we can go ahead and score it of our device. I think I'm gonna round these corners too. Yeah, I like those better round. It looks more like a little screen. So I think I'm gonna go ahead and put that down. And these pieces right here, guys, I just cut out to make it kind of look like a shadow. And I just really just cut these out by hand. I think I'm just gonna leave this. I don't think I'm gonna put this little curly Q thing in. I'm trying to make it look like it's kind of got a, like it's glass. So we have that. Now what I need to do is just go and decorate my pieces. And if you're following along with me, that's where we're at. So let's go ahead and go make our stuff for our twisty thing and meet back here in just a little bit. So now what we're gonna do is take our piece that's finished. I have all my pieces on, and the easiest way I found to do it is glue it in the bottom first. So let's do that. Remember, I didn't do the bottom box because you're not gonna see it once it gets in here. So that's the end I'm gonna glue in mine. Now when you put your lid on, leave it down like so, and then we're gonna glue it down, because if you untwist it and then glue it on, it doesn't line up. How I see how this one, it's crooked and it doesn't want to, you really have to force it to come down on. So I figured out if you glue it when it's like so, it will be okay. So I'm gonna go ahead and put my glue on because it really needs some time to set. Okay, while that is drying, I wanted to show you what I added to the inside of this. It just felt a little too flimsy for me. So what I did is I cut out an additional piece of cardstock and I embossed. These on the inside are 4x2. And I also, to keep this from flapping, I put a magnet underneath, and then I have one on this side which I'm going to glue to the box. Now what you need to keep in mind when you put this on is making sure this matches the same way your camera is going. So my camera faces like so, so this is how I'm gonna glue. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, and there we have it. Isn't that just so cute? And we did this, I just think it's so clever how we did it with just shapes in the back too. And let's see if this is anywhere near dry. Make sure we give it a good push down on the bottom down here, because I saw a place that was not quite done. What you can do is stick your finger inside the box to make sure these get laid down. And I try to be really careful where I'm laying it on the line, and this one I should have put it down just a little bit further. That's alright. This is what I ended up putting on mine. And then again, we can just twist it to turn it back down. And put it on. And there we have it, guys. There's our little camera. I think it turned out really cute. I can't wait to see what you guys made. And I just want to say thanks for crafting with me. And I'll see you next time. Bye.